Welcome to Amazon Unplugged. I am Rajiv Sharma, Director of Talent Acquisition for Amazon India and your host today. Today, we have a very special guest, someone who spent more than 25 years at Amazon and his journey has had many inspirations. We are really looking forward to learn. Joining me today is Samir Kumar. He is the country leader for Amazon India. Over the past 25 years, he's helped shape some of Amazon's most pivotal moments, from being a key player to launching Amazon in India and to leading consumer business across geographies. There's a lot to look forward to. From the untold stories behind the launch of Amazon.in to the leadership lessons from the 25 years journey and some really exciting and surprising revelations. I'm really excited and I hope you're excited too. Samir, thank you so much for joining us today. I am really excited, especially for today's episode, because the 25 years of journey that you have, I'm sure there's a lot to learn, there's a lot to look forward to.
No, thank you for having me here. I was not sure that you'd like to have a 25-year-old veteran at Amazon. So I don't know, you'll have a lot of stories from the trenches, but you'll also have a lot of leadership principles and things that have become like part of our everyday life. So you'll hear a bit of that.
So Samir, 25 years, I think my total experience is one year short, and I'm sure you have had experience before joining Amazon. So maybe let's start from before Amazon, a little about how Amazon happened in 1999, and I'm sure there's an interesting story out there.
Yeah, it is. Like I started working so I had 4 years of prior experience. I don't remember much of it because Amazon has been all of my life. But I started in 95 in a small town called Olympia, Washington. It's about 60 miles south of Seattle. It's the capital of Washington State. I started working there. I spent 2 years there and I got mentored by somebody. And then I went and worked on Wall Street for a couple of years where I was doing Y2K, year 2000.
Right.
The whole world was falling apart and I made a lot of money on Wall Street. But that sense of ownership was missing as a consultant. So I was always wishing for something where I had a little bit of more of ownership. That was that I used to make money on a project which used to get delivered in 3 months, but there was nothing like that I owned at the end of it. So it happened one day that I got a call from a recruiter who was doing a reference check on one of my mentors who was joining Amazon. And that recruiter is still with Amazon, Shannon Tutko, and during the conversation, she just lashed on to me, say, hey, do you want to join Amazon as well? Would you like to interview with us? I said, why not? I wanted to get back to Pacific Northwest because that's where I had started, and Amazon was Seattle based. And somehow I had liked the way Amazon was operating. So I interviewed in June of 1999 and rest is history.
So let's go back to 99. Tell us about your early years of joining Amazon and how was the whole experience and what did you start with at Amazon?
Wow, it was very interesting. It was before the dot-com bust. So Amazon was moving fast. We launched a bunch more categories. So we were a books and DVD. Electronics was launched just before I joined. So it was a really fast-growing company, but I joined in a building that was in a place which was very close to Pike Place Market. And we were in a very small, rickety building. Like the elevator used to take 2 minutes to go up 2 floors. And they were so not private that you could hear Jeff laughing in the elevator. And because if you see in some of the buildings at Amazon even today, you'll see whiteboards in the building where we can scribble stuff.
Yes.
Because it used to be so long in that building to go up and down the elevator, somebody installed a whiteboard there so we could have discussion in the elevator. So that was the early days.
Right.
But it was amazing to see the growth of Amazon. So that was the initial shock, but I really enjoyed the ownership, the customer obsession that I saw at Amazon was unbelievable. If you focus on your customer and if you're building something differentiated, I think you can build a large business. That's something we learned from Jeff, and it stays with us.
Amazing insights. And you spoke about some of the country launches, and I wanted to come back to the India launch. You've been involved with as one of the core members of when Amazon.in came into being. The energy in the room on not only the day one of when it was launched. How was that whole experience? Could you talk us a little about?
I think I want to take you a little bit further from back from there, because I got involved. First, Amit sold me on this role. We're going to build the most customer-centric company in India.
Right.
And I came here to basically do the part where we're going to complete the flywheel and build the right experience. So we had some challenges. So I built the team. It was really fun to build Amazon at India, especially because we cannot do retail in India.
Yes.
So we had to figure out how to invent. Like as Jeff said, we have to be very, very rigid in our vision and mission, but we have to be very flexible in execution. Wow. And that's exactly what happened in India. When I came here, I had learned all about our retail tools, how we do pricing, how we do in-stock management. I said, I'm going to come here because I had spent the prior 2 years as a technical advisor to Diego Pincintini, who was our senior vice president for international. And I learned everything about how we run our retail business. And I was going to come to India and implement that. But then I came here, no retail. And the mantra was, no retail, so what? Let's figure out how to make it work.
Right.
The 40 people that I had on the team, really smart, young. They have grown up in India, but they didn't know nothing about Amazon or the Amazon way. But they knew how to take care of customers. So I had to instill the right culture. But beyond that, the way they invented, the flywheel works. I had to just make sure the customer experience is right. So we went about, recruited sellers to become partner with us, to be the anchor tenant on our platform. We told them how to do pricing, how to maintain in-stock, how to bring stuff into our fulfillment center. I still remember this one seller in Kala Ghoda in Mumbai. He basically told us that, why would you open? DVD is a dying business. But we did. We said, come on, sell with us. 6 months later, he came back when we launched. He said, sir, my business has grown so much. His name is Aslam Bhai. He still sells on Amazon, Pritam Music. And what else can I do?
Yes.
So the team they rallied around. And June 5th, 2013 was the culmination of that effort. We launched with just books and DVD.
Wow.
And it was I think that's one experience. When you say that, what am I going to talk to my grandkids about? That day is what I'm going to talk to my grandkids about. And we invented our way. We didn't have the Amazon playbook, but we figured out. It was the first time Amazon launched without a retail. And we are so proud of that. And that stays with me. Aslam Bhai stays with me. Wonderful. The 40 people who worked with me to launch Amazon India, they stay with me.
It's always special, the first day, and some of these are, momentous occasions when it's like life. Crucible experience, it changes your perspective in life.
That is true. Like when you talk about, like our Jeff Wilkie always used to talk about crucible moments.
Yes.
And that's where the leaders come around and they deliver in spite of all the challenges. And I think that was my crucible moment. Like the down when we cannot figure out how to do something, but then your team figures out how to get the pricing right. And we were the fastest to get to $1 billion run rate. And that's what Jeff was really proud about, that we invented in spite of all the challenges. We wanted to be India's largest selection, and we did that. And that's what I'm proud of. Right.
Wonderful. I'm going to build on that day one culture and mindset you spoke about, right? We still say that it's been so many decades, but we still feel that Amazon is the world's largest startup. The whole startup mindset, the day one mindset. Talk to me a little about how do you see that in everyday life? Like, what is day one for you?
When I look at my own career at Amazon, for the last 15 years, I have been in a startup, whether it was starting India or going back in 2016 and then taking on the role of expanding Amazon to the next set of countries. We did 3 countries in Middle East, we launched Australia. So every day I'm working like a startup. We are building a next Amazon within Amazon. So that is, for me, is more about like instilling the right, like I go to a new country where I see a set of folks who are really smart, talented, we hire really well. But then instilling that culture in them is really important. And
Right.
day one for me is some of that, like instilling that culture of, hey, how do you treat people? How do you go and stay close to the front line?
Yeah.
How do you not say that this is not my problem? Like ownership is all about, not about like saying that, oh, should I go pick up the dirt that's on the floor? Why not? Because it's my problem. And Jeff always gave these examples, ownership, which is around, like he gave a house for rental,
Yeah.
and somebody planted a Christmas tree and bolted it to the kitchen floor.
Right.
If you are an owner, you'll never do that to your house.
Yes.
And that's the mentality. That's what a part of day one culture is, that being an owner. Earning trust is not about taking out people for coffee. It's always about keeping the truth-seeking nature of Amazon alive.
Right. Yeah. And I think one of the quotes I always remember, what Jeff says is that day two is stasis, and for us to be day one, we are only as good as what we were yesterday, and we need to continue to think for our customers. And sometimes our customers may not know what they exactly want, and that whole understanding the customer well to be able to respond. I think those are,
Yeah, I think he followed that status with decay and death,
yes.
right? So I think most of the day two companies, they don't survive long. And he always has said that we will, at some point of time, become that, right? But we have to continue to push ourselves to stay day one.
Yes.
Because day two is not the place we want to be in the future. So.
Absolutely. You spent some time with Jeff himself. If there's one moment that you remember vividly that you wouldn't forget and you would like to share.
One that is personal, that stays personally with me, was the moment after a China review,
Right.
when he came and personally said thank you to me, right? And it was a review where it was a big document, and Jeff actually read that, and he asked all the ST member to say, hey, have you guys all read this doc? And he spent quite a bit of time going after some of those things that I had called out in the meeting, and they were actually implemented in China.
Wow.
But he, after the meeting, after that was done, he asked who wrote this report, and Diego answered that, hey, it's Samir, because there was no name in that report. So I took those learnings and used them in India as well, right? So when I came to India, some of those things around building the right culture, hiring and developing the best talent, and focusing on key customer input stays with me even today. So that's the personal one. And on the other one is like kind of a Jeff generally speaks last in most of the meetings I've been to. It was, I think, the first OP1 review that we are doing. We had launched in June. We had gone to him in October. We were really thrilled that, hey, our business is growing. We were able to figure out how to launch a marketplace. And he was really happy. And S-Team, everybody was giving us a lot of kudos that, hey, we have done this. And Jeff spoke last. And he went through the document. And he started, like there were 15 or 17 places. He said, you have said here you're going to pilot. You said here you're going to experiment. You're going to try this out for 3 months. He looked at Amit and said, and you're going to fail. And he said, I don't need a computer scientist. I need a cowboy. And he rattled off that you guys are thinking like Amazon of 2013. You need to think like Amazon of 1997. I want fearless folks who are like cowboy on the Wild West, who are going to take risks, go do things, break things, move fast and compete, because that's what I need in India. We actually took that lesson. And for me, I used to keep a cowboy hat in my office. It's still there when I've come back this time. I keep a cowboy hat in my office. If somebody used to come to me in those days, say, I can't do this because Seattle is not helping me. Instead of becoming helpless about that, I said, hey, be my cowboy for the next 2 weeks. Figure out a way to get this done in India. And invariably, the team used to surprise me, and positively surprise me, that they used to figure out how to get this done.
You've traveled the country, you've met artisans, sellers, you've met customers across the length and breadth of the country. So are there any such moments
I'm
that
getting a
have stayed?
goosebump. I'm actually getting a goosebump because this is one that I'm going to like jump in and talk about this one, because thank you for asking that question. I was in Nashik and about a couple of months back, and we went to a collection center. And basically I was watching how the farmers bring their produce to this collection center. And so they are bringing their watermelon and their onions. So the farmer, they just surrounded me after everything was done, and I was just asking how are things, and they were like, sir, why don't you make your business really big? We really love working with Amazon. And I said, why do you do that? He said, before I get home, you have already paid me.
Wow.
And you do that every time. Nobody else does that. And every farmer said that to me, that how we are consistently paying. And I asked my team, how do you do that? They showed me a system that they had built. It was somewhat automated, where we pay the farmer on time and within hours. So it's impressive. When we say we are transforming the life, how India buys and sells, I think we are also transforming how India gets the farmers online and get them to sell. And I hope we can transform the life of Indians, including farmers, in that. So that stays with me. And it happened a couple of months back. So
that is so powerful, and the fact that when you know you are able to touch lives in ways that has enabled, and there are multiple ways, be it I have space that we have, where people are using their facilities to be able to store goods and make money on the side, be it becoming a seller. A lot of these people who've now been able to build a livelihood which is helping them support their family and just be a lot more independent. I think that's really powerful.
That is so true for us. Like when we say, like, hey, we have created 1.4 million jobs and we have promised 2 million jobs, I think we have done that, right? Yes. And when you go to an FC or a fulfillment center and you talk to some of the associates and how we are impacting, how we are taking care of them, and how we are, like, we have installed ACs in our fulfillment centers. We have set up ASRE centers.
Right.
They are all kind of things that how we help India grow as a whole. So, and that is more fulfilling for me.
Absolutely.
Right? So, and then I can talk about, like, my experience with young kids, right? I'm wearing an Amazon Future Engineer shirt.
Yes.
And it was so impressive. It was in our Sambhav conference when I was just walking around. I saw a robot moving around. And my kids were in robotics club, so I'm very interested in robots. I just went and started asking them, what have they done? They were kids from public schools, and they were supported by our AFE program. And I met Meenal, who is running the innovation story out of Mumbai, and I sat down with her and I figured out how we are, this whole AFE program, how many kids we have influenced in terms of getting them into STEM and computer science in education. It's a huge program.
Yes. We'll stay on the India story a bit, right? We spoke about your experience traveling. Let's talk about the customers. Indian customers are unique in their own way. What challenge does it bring? Like, does the Indian customer brings in a different challenge, and what innovation does it fuel? And I'm going to link the both, saying, okay, does thinking local create a lot more innovation, and how that's also transforming some of the things that we can do at a global level?
I think I'll start by saying that I have seen customers around the world, and some of these things are universally true.
Right.
So customers are not different in India versus Dubai versus Saudi Arabia or Cairo or in Sydney. Okay. They all want the same thing, which is they want the largest selection.
Right.
They want the best value for that product, and they want the fastest speed that it can be delivered.
Right.
So that, like, as Jeff used to say, and we all believe in that, things that do not change over time, you can build very large business. Things that do not change for us. If today we are giving 1 million items in our catalog to our customer, they won't want 500,000 tomorrow.
Right.
If you're giving something for 10 rupees today, they don't want to pay 20 rupees tomorrow. So those are true, that over time, customers will still want value, they will want convenience, and they will want larger selection.
Right.
So that is same around the world.
Wow.
But I do feel that there are certain nuances, like the customer in India is still coming online. So there is this trust factor that's a bit, I would say, lower than compared to a US or a Europe. So those are things that you have to invent on behalf of a customer.
Wow.
So we did a lot of those innovations in India. But at the base level, customer want the same thing. You just have to figure out how to serve that And for in India, some of those challenges like payments, logistics, some of the experiences that you build because of lack of trust is very, very important.
And when we talk about innovation, right? Any innovation or anything that came out from India that scaled globally, which you're like really proud of?
Of course, like if you look at the whole AMZL,
Right.
and if you look at our Amazon logistics globally, it's amazing what we have built. I believe that we are bigger than UPS and FedEx now in US.
Yeah.
So that whole thing has come in the last, I would say 6, 7, 8 years. And it was after we built some of the logistics capability in India, and some of those were inspired. Same thing with Easy Ship and Seller Flex. These programs are scaling in other parts of the world as well. So we have taken a lot of those learnings and deployed them globally. And I think Jeff has always said that if you take a learning from a smaller team or a smaller company and deploy it to the scale of Amazon, the multiplier effect is much larger. So I think India has provided that to our global Amazon team.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this. This was really powerful. So Samir, 10 years from now, if you have to give a what will Amazon India story look like, what do you think it will be?
It won't be very different from what we are doing right now. We'll still have India's largest selection. We'll still be India's most customer obsessed company. We'll still have the best value and hopefully the fastest speed. So we'll continue to do those things the same way. But we also hopefully will be India's most loved company as well. So those are the things that I look forward to as we build. Like I look forward to continue to build for India's, I would say, most customer-centric company, and continue to invent and innovate on behalf of customers.
When you're hiring people for your team or just Amazon in general, what are the few things that you really look for, which is beyond just the skills and the functional experience?
For me, that has changed over time. Right, like it used to be like smart. Like I used to ask all these trick questions, count the number of trees in Seattle, and tell me how will you do that. So it was more about like analytical scale and how smart the person is. I focus on a lot more on when you have come up with a difficult situation, how did you handle that?
Yes.
When you had a challenging time where you were in authority opposition, were you humble enough?
Yes.
Do you talk about your failures as well as your successes in the same breath? For me, that culture fit is really, really important. And for Amazon, those culture fit is, are you a truth seeker? Are you humble? Are you vocally self-critical? Do you talk about your failures? Smartness we all have. What differentiates us is the choices that we make.
Yes.
And that's what I think Jeff is the one who taught us all this.
How have you evolved as a leader, and what role has coaching or mentoring played in your own, evolving as a leader?
I think first and foremost, luck has played a big role in my career, right? Like I was lucky enough to be in right places at right time to be able to do that. But having those mentors who have always, like for example, I had when I was becoming a manager, it was kind of like my manager had started doing something else, and there was a gap, and I was an individual contributor trying to become a principal engineer, and they said, go manage a team. And my manager said, like, why don't you try it for a few days? And this was early days of Amazon. So I went back to, like, there was one interaction. I was having a performance review with one of the best guy that I had on the team. And at the end of performance review, I gave him his salary information, and he was very upset. He walked out of the room, and I didn't know how to deal with that. And so I went back to this manager of mine and asked him, what did I do? What should I do to handle this? I said, and that stayed with me to this day is, Samir, you're working with computer, you tell them what to do and they do that. With human, they are very unpredictable. So you have to figure out situation to situation. And that got me into the thing that, wow. But that manager helped me into getting into this role of being a manager. And a role of people management is much, much more challenging than solving a difficult problem on a computer. And so that was one mentorship, like it's just interaction. And I have maintained some of those relationships where whenever I had one or two people who I could go to all the time if I had a difficult problem. So I think it was mostly these mentors or these folks who you rely on, find one or two of them and stay with them.
We say this tagline, right? Work hard, have fun, make history. We spoke about a lot of hard work and making history. So how do you balance the work life all these years with competing priorities? So much of, I'd say, ambiguity that you're dealing with. You don't know what time your day would end. In all of this, how do you balance? And then I'll also come to the part of, you follow a lot of sports, and how do you still, practice some of it?
Yeah, I think like we all, like being in Amazon for so long, we don't talk about work-life balance. We talk about work-life harmony. And it's always, and this is another concept that Jeff introduced, which is more around, if you're happy at work, you take that happiness home. If you're happy at home, you bring that back too. So like that harmony is really important. So it's not about, sometimes we all have to work extra hours, but at the same time, if you're happy doing it and you don't take that unhappiness back to home, and then you create more churn, and it's basically a negative spiral versus a virtuous cycle, which is happiness and keep that. So I try to follow that as well. Like it's not about working long hours. Some days I do that, but then am I happy doing that? So that is the most important part of this, for me, the work-life harmony. So my advice, we have just finished Prime Day. I hope the team is taking some time off to relax, because we have to run this marathon as well. We finished the sprint, now we need to go run the marathon.
I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions, and I'd love to get, a quick response, whatever comes first. The first one is one book that you read that changed a lot of your perspective.
The one is, like, since I'm a golf fan, a book recently I read was Every Stroke Count by Mark Brody. It is an analytical database book as to how you play golf, like what shots are important, and he did an analysis. This whole stroke gain system in golf was invented by this guy. So first of all, I'm a data junkie as well, so that helps me, that book helps me in that. But it also tells me that I need to focus on my approach shot a lot more than my drive.
One thing that not a lot of people know about you.
I used to be a Candy Crush addict. I reached level almost close to 6,000 in Candy Crush. I played and that was one of those things that my wife said, you have to quit playing Candy Crush. Because any moment I had when I'm not doing anything else and she'll be talking to me, I'll be playing Candy Crush. So that's Candy Crush playing. And the second one I have is, last year, in a span of 4 months, I played golf on all 6 continents.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm proud of that.
That's amazing. If you were not at Amazon, what would you have wanted to be as a kid?
A teacher. Like, my teachers have always inspired me, right? And they are always, and I think the multiplier effect, like the leverage they create, we always talk about creating leverage, creating more of you. I think every year they go through the classes and then they have students come in and go. Like, we all go and thank them for what they have, the influence they had.
You mentioned about your love for food as well. So are you a good cook, or are you a big, food junkie?
I was a food junkie, but COVID got me into a little bit of cooking as well. So I am good at cooking things in the Instant Pot. And I became a decent, I would say, breakfast maker. And then I have also gotten into pizza making.
Thank you for the honest responses, and as a true gesture for being so sporty. This is a small token from one of the Amazon sellers.
Okay.
I hope you like it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Samir. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you. To all our listeners, if Samir's journey has inspired you, head over to amazon.jobs and explore all the opportunities out there. And until next time, keep dreaming big, and like we say in Amazon, work hard, have fun, make history.